Hello, everyone. James here with Certified Exit Planners, partnered with New Leaf Brokerage. Welcome to Exit Strategy Lite. We're going to do a quick overview of exit planning. And with that being said, I'm going to get started. Located here in Charlotte, North Carolina, we service the entire US and Canada. However, we primarily focus on the Southeast and in many regards in the Midwest for most of our business owners that we help. And with that being said, I'm going to dive right in and go pretty quick. 100% of business owners will exit. That means that 100% will sell to a third party, transition to a family member, or unfortunately close up shop. Next up, borrowing a quote from Warren Buffett. I like to nuance it with a little bit different, operate with the end in mind. His original quote was, when you start a business, you should start with the end in mind. Same concept, a little more nuanced. The basic concept of exit planning is truly just business strategy. So by implementing it and changing your mindset, you're really improving the value of your business and operating with the end in mind. Who we are and why it matters here. I'm James again, certified exit planning advisor, a SEPA, a value builder accredited, a business broker, a former business owner, a current business owner, and have ran and operated several businesses as well. I focused on three of our team members for today, but also keep in mind we have a much larger team, especially on the brokerage side, to help us with increased deal volume and more complex transactions, closed over $90 million in SMBs, small to mid-sized businesses, typically work with lower to middle market, aka businesses doing 2 million to 25 million in revenue. We have the team and resources and very diversified experience to take you to the finish line. Who's on your advisory team? A question I'd like to pose to everyone listening. Most folks don't have an advisory team or at least a consistent one. And the reason to really consider that or reconsider perhaps is having a better cohesive leadership team with greater communication. And so you have the support to find clarity and to execute your exit plan appropriately. And again, an exit plan does not mean we're selling now. It just means we're selling in the future, which 100% of businesses will do. And the other thing to keep in mind is there's a lot of third parties involved with a typical sale. Just to name a few are on the screen here today. And typically most transactions are going to have a minimum of 3 to 4 folks involved, meaning a buyer seller and at least a transaction attorney. Most likely it's going to be 2 attorneys. And if there's representation, broker, as well as a lot of other individuals like CPAs, estate planners, and attorneys, perhaps a financial planner as well. So I would encourage folks to start accumulating their advisory team to ensure their success. Are you prepared for your future exit? Plan, prepare, profit, the 3 Ps. Being proactive versus reactive, extremely helpful and bears a lot more fruit for a business owner. And would like to reiterate that 4 out of 5 businesses will not sell due to lack of preparation. The preparation side truly makes a massive impact for the business owner, not only from a dollars and cents perspective, but also ease. And so keep that in mind. 4 out of 5 will not sell because they're not prepared. And so you certainly want to be the one of the 5 or and help reverse that statistic. And hopefully we'll flip that over the next 10 years. And that's what we're incredibly passionate about is helping business owners determine their ideal exit plan. What you'll walk away with is a very high level. We're going to keep it basic today. Key drivers of business value, the buyer's lens, what are buyers looking for, a quick roadmap, and high level sale expectations with regard to how a sale might happen or occur, or the timeline associated, and just kind of the risks of inactivity or not taking action. And again, want to reiterate that exit planning equals a business strategy. When you consider and think of it as an exit plan, you are essentially implementing business strategy, hopefully improving the value of your business and mitigating risk and taxes. I'm going to take a quick pause in case you're a little bit overwhelmed. I know I'm going at a fast pace here. That's designed to make it a little bit more snack bite or snapshot focused. But the key is anytime you're implementing or formulating a plan is just one limb at a time. One step at a time. I'm afraid of heights, so probably should use a different analogy. But the point is piecemeal, one step at a time, establish some high level goals and just kind of build towards them. The blueprint. My experience with trades, it seems to come back to building architecture. A lot of times I consider myself an exit architect, and we're looking at an exit blueprint. The first phase is establishing where you are today using qualitative analysis and assessments in conjunction with evaluation. That's a starting point. Where are you today? And then we frame the house with the 8 key drivers of business value. We build the house. And then finally, we put a roof on it and weatherproof it with our 12-step modules, exit planning. We prioritize them predominantly, and then move through which ones are most appropriate to increase value and kind of do a SWOT analysis, so to speak, on how to increase value as quickly as possible. 8 key drivers of business. I'll focus on a couple here real quick, but number one, financial performance, very obvious one, but there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of review and analysis, and there's often a lot of things to improve. I look at hundreds of tax returns, and you learn a lot about a business that way from a numbers perspective. The lenders need to be able to approve and finance it. So very important from multiple perspectives, the buyers, the lenders, and also really need to make sure we get to the finish line, which brings me to the human capital side. Number 8, hub and spoke. Hub and spoke is very focused on the structure of your company. And the greatest test there is if you went on vacation for a month or 2 months or 3 months, or perhaps you need to have surgery for whatever reason, then maybe, considering a more structured environment and making sure the business operates as it should when you're not there is a great test, so to speak. And then the other one that's been more of a focal point, especially with inconsistencies in the economy, is number 5, recurring revenue, and how you can create predictable revenue and increases the value of your business, et cetera. Our proven process, as I've mentioned, assessments and valuation, first steps, establish that foundation, and then improve the 8 key drivers and take a look at the 12-step modules to kind of focus on different ways to look at those processes. I'm going to go over some 2 very quick examples. Avocado Inc., a real company. They were doing very well with the revenue piece, but we're struggling a little bit on the profit efficiency, their sellability score, which is what I'd encourage folks to consider through our software. And kind of going over the results with us is always very helpful. Put their valuation at a 570. The way to get the value there is taking your profit, 285 times the 2 multiple equals 570. And the 3 key drivers when coming up with the valuation are revenue, profit, and the multiple, and the sellability score. So combination of those 3 drive the industry multiple, which drives the valuation. So quick snapshot there. After implementing an exit plan, revenue increased, profitability skyrocketed, sellability score went up, which translates to a much higher multiple. So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Business owners receive massive benefits. So as you can see, their valuation went from around 600K to approximately 5 million. And so massive power of exit planning there. Cost of inactivity on the right here. Spuds LLC, another example. They kind of sputtered out. That's why I came up with the name. But they had a solid little business there, 2 million in revenue. Profit was decent. Sellability score solid. Industry multiple fairly good. Valuation over 1.1 million. However, they weren't a client. They didn't really talk to anyone. They didn't leverage an advisory team, and therefore devalued the company. And then now is worth 1/3 of what it was today. So no exit plan, and really want to reiterate the power of the exit plan. What can derail your business? The 5 Ds. I'm going to skip over the first 3 because they're fairly obvious and very unfortunate. But number 4, disagreement. That one's a lot of times focused on having an operating agreement or a buy-sell agreement when there's partners, and creates a lot of issues there. 50% of business owners will experience one of the 5 Ds. It's a fact. And so by implementing an exit plan and using business strategy, you're going to de-risk your business. So if one of these 5 Ds unfortunately impacts you or the business or someone involved, meaning key employees, then you can mitigate risk there and continue to operate the business and really prevent from having a massive roller coaster ride, and hopefully a lot smoother ride in terms of the business and how it's operating. Your exit timer. Love this one. Are you prepared for your exit timer to go off? If not, the turkey's getting torched, meaning it's either going to get undercooked or overcooked if you don't really think about your exit timer. The exit planning phase can be 1 to 10 years, really depending on what you believe to be the best for you, your family, your employees. Phase 2, 6 months to 1 year to sell the business with several steps within there. Phase 3, 1 to 6 months, generally transition time. And the perks of planning, 70% 70% higher sale price, less time on the market, and improved transition if you implement a plan or proactive. So that's the real value there, is that it's not only dollars and cents, but also easier. And so with that being said, kind of flew through a lot of those. Welcome you to email or text or call us with additional questions, borrowing from Yogi Berra. If there's a fork in the road, take it. Option one is do nothing, hope for the best, and it might work out, it might not. Or I encourage folks to start preparing now, maximize the value through plan, prepare, profit, and be proactive. And I guarantee you'll be happy with the results there and increase the value of your business and mitigate risk. And so next steps would be to schedule a one-on-one verbal meeting if you want to kind of go over something high level. If you want to think about it a little bit more, maybe option two is a little bit better for you, where you can take the sellability assessment and we can discuss the results there. So with that being said, thank you so much for doing a quick review on exit planning. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to email, call, and take a look at our assessment options. Take care.